Angela Merkel, Germany's chancellor now for 13 years, well, she is on her way out, albeit according to her own time plan. She says she wants to finish her term in 2021, but there is no guarantee that she will be able to do that. In 2019, the German chancellor, an icon of stability, is now a main source of uncertainty. DW's Michaela Kuffner picks up the story for us from there.
So far, Angela Merkel's gradual exit from politics appears to be going to plan. But remaining chancellor over the coming year won't be that easy, with a whole list of potential pitfalls. In Annegret Kramp-Karrenbauer, Merkel got the successor as party leader she wanted. AKK, as she is known, is a much-needed ally who will help keep Merkel's inner-party critics at bay. But the political comeback of Merkel's former rival Friedrich Merz has loosened her hold on the party. Merz's aim to join the Merkel cabinet has been rebuffed for now, but many back his claim to power, a direct threat to Angela Merkel. Europe's crunch time elections in May could also be a turning point for the stability of Germany's government. If Angela Merkel's coalition partner, the Social Democrats, take yet another beating at the polls, they may see no other way forward than withdrawing from the government. That would most likely end Angela Merkel's time as chancellor. Those polls are expected to see a further rise of the populist right across Europe, and Angela Merkel is set to feel those effects back home. Here in Germany, the AfD publicly closed ranks with the right-wing extremists during street protests in the eastern city of Chemnitz last summer. United by a determination to end the Merkel era, the populist movement in Germany may gain new momentum. With 3 eastern states going to the polls this coming autumn, the AfD will have to prove whether it can become the strongest political force in any of these states. If the far-right Alternative for Germany manages to replicate its general election results from 2017, it could become the strongest political force in Saxony. A defeat for the CDU in yet more state elections would also be seen as a rebuke for Chancellor Merkel's leadership. All of those factors will also play a role in the half-time assessment of the coalition partner of Angela Merkel's government. The Social Democrats wrote an exit clause into their coalition deal. If they trigger that, Angela Merkel could crash out of her last term in office.
Lots of crash possibilities this year. Let's talk about that. Our chief political correspondent, Melinda Crane, joins me here at the big table. Happy New Year, Melinda. So I guess the question is, beginning of this year, will we see Angela Merkel as chancellor next year this time?
I didn't bring my crystal ball, and frankly, I think even if I had it, it is so hard to read. You heard all the different variables mentioned by Michaela in that report, and in fact, we just don't know. But what we do know is that there is no majority in this country for seeing Angela Merkel leave power anytime soon. If you look at the recent polls, 1 in 3 Germans says maybe she should leave earlier than scheduled, but that is by no means a resounding majority. And the fact is, her poll numbers have actually gone up since she handed over the party leadership to her successor, who in fact is quite popular in Germany. So, you know Germans, they love stability, and I think there is at this moment no clear sense that we need to have a change.
And do you get the sense that Angela Merkel seems almost liberated when she's in public now, when she talks about geopolitics, knowing that she doesn't have to campaign again? Do you get that sense?
I do have that sense. You know, the skeptics say, well, she's a lame duck, so she's not really going to have the power to do anything with this last year or 2 in office. But others, and I'm probably to be counted in their number, would say she's now free to start worrying about the history books. And certainly what you just referenced was her New Year's greeting to the country, in which she really put a big focus on foreign policy, not least because Germany is now going to be a member of the Security Security Council, and where she said, we absolutely are going to be advocating for multilateral solutions to problems. So those are very much the words of a stateswoman who's not too worried about domestic politics at the moment.
And let's pick up, though, on what's happening domestically. We know that far-right sentiment has been growing in the country. Is it because of Angela Merkel, or is it because she hasn't done enough to stop it?
This is the age-old argument, which has also split her own party, whether her decision to take in hundreds of thousands of refugees in 2015 was one of the things that fed the rise of the far right, or whether, in fact, it's far more complex than that. I think the fact is, looking toward those state elections that Michaela mentioned, in 3 very critical Eastern German states where the far right has been on the rise, what will her government and what will her party be trying to do in the run-up to those elections to try to keep a lid on support for the far right? The fact is, those local elections will very much also be based on local policies. So it's partly up to the parties in those states how they handle hot-button issues like security. Many people in Germany feeling that their streets, their cities are no longer as safe as they should be. Also hot-button issues like integrating migrants. What are they doing about that at local level? And then other bread-and-butter topics, pensions, jobs, all of that will really count in terms of how these parties and the government at federal and local level try to work to keep a lid on the right.
I said earlier in the program that this German chancellor, she has become an icon of stability, particularly for Europe. And now it seems, if you look at her shelf life, we know what it is now, she is becoming a source of uncertainty. Do you agree with that? And how's the rest of Europe going to deal with that this year?
You know, the fact is, we can list all the challenges that could bring our government down, as we did in the report. We could also look at what Germany's facing internationally. As I said, Germany now a member of the Security Council of the United Nations with a very clear commitment to fight for multilateral solutions to complex problems. That was said not only by the Chancellor, but also by the Foreign Minister in very strong words, listing issues like climate change, trade, security issues, Germany taking more responsibility internationally, including paying more for defense. All of these are contentious, both within the government and within the larger population. So all of that is sort of the side of challenges, if not problems. On the plus side, though, Brent, and I think we both know this country remains an island of stability in a very stormy sea. There is a wide majority in Germany for multilateral approaches to foreign policy. That cannot be said of many other countries. There is also a very strong sense that stability is important. Don't rock the boat too much. The rise of the far right is a specter that to some degree also will keep other parties, mainstream parties, from taking very rash actions because nobody wants to feed into the hands of the far right. For all of those reasons, I would bet on the fact that Germany, to at least some degree, remains a source of leadership and stability going into a very turbulent year.
Yeah. I will agree with you on that, and we'll be talking very soon to see if what you're saying does come to fruition. As always, Melinda, thank you.
You're welcome.